Well, a good day to you and welcome to Inside the Scrum. My name is Ruimbo Chakureka. I've got two of my pundits today who are going to be helping me discuss some of the matters and issues happening in the world of rugby. And of course, to my immediate left, I've got Tinashe. I know Tinashe has got quite a lot to say about what we're going to be discussing today. But Tinashe, welcome.
Thank you.
And of course, I've got Tafara on the far end. You guys had a ball the last time I wasn't around. So we're going to make sure we're going to have a ball this week. So what are we going to be talking about today? Well, we've got the Harare Province Rugby Under-20 League kicked off over the weekend and some interesting results which actually came out of that. And of course, we're going to be talking a little bit about, Maridzacho Zirimbori Kupiko, because they've started the league without a sponsorship. But first, let's just dive in to the matter at hand. And I'll start off with you, Tinashe. Interesting results that came up over the weekend. All of the traditional rugby giants, all of them got beaten. There's only one which was beaten respectfully. Otherwise, the rest were beaten senselessly. Why?
I think it's just maybe hangover. We haven't been playing rugby for a long time. You know, the players need time to settle. I'm not going to read too much into week one results because it's a marathon, not a sprint. And my beloved OGs, they lost, I know, but we will bounce back.
They were blown apart.
Yeah.
I mean, Tafara, all right. So he says it's week number one, but let's put some other stats on the table. If you look at Marondera Talents, for example, I was reliably informed that Marondera Talents side, barring maybe around about 2 or 3 players, that 15-man squad that was in that starting lineup are going to be the Wise Owl first team that is going to be playing in the schoolboy rugby season. So effectively, we're talking about 17 and 18-year-olds that went out and beat a Harare Sports Club, which had a couple of 20-year-olds or those Vapedza Chikoro. I mean, surely that should sound some alarm bells.
Yep, emerging talent, I would put it across. And I know he doesn't want to read much into it because it's week one, but this could be telling signs of what possibly may happen in future. A seismic shift in dominance and power of the traditional teams that be, of course, your old Hararians, your Harare Sports Club, and losing, and not just losing by quite some margin, you know. So it's one thing to lose, but by that margin when you don't expect it. If we were to have punters before the game, I'm pretty sure quite a number of people would lose their money because they place their bets on, of course, the traditional big guys to win it. But well, here's Wise Owl coming in with a power burst, and you want to see that. I saw quite a number of videos. I think we were talking about it off air. Some beautiful tries. I mean, tries that you want to document. Memorabilia, rugby memorabilia. That is, but to put it across, it's beautiful to see new competition from teams that maybe you'd least expect competition from. But yeah, now we're here. It's going to be interesting to see what's going to be happening for the next couple of weeks, maybe until we get to week 4. Then we'll see who is who. How are the traditional big guys going to come? Are they going to come back? Is a big question mark. Or
yeah, well, look, when I come back to it, I look at a particular, battle, which was the one between Zambezi Steelers and Old Hararians. Zambezi Steelers, for those that may not know, Zambezi Steelers were actually third place finishers last year. This was their first season in the Premiership last year, and actually beat Old Georgians in that third place playoff. So Kusema's team effectively is being buried slowly but surely. But Zambezi Steelers coming in, they've got this whole new fresh model, lots of players, of course, the bulk of them coming from St. George's, where the head coach Ricky Chiring and they're actually coaches. How far do you think they can actually go this season? Because they've got some of arguably some of the best schoolboy rugby talent. Some of them still in school. Some of them have left school. The likes of Andrew Maringa, he went to the Abu Dhabi Festival. Mazita Sitole, we know how much of an ox he is. Mufaro Ndoro, who was named, or who has been named the 2026 Dragons rugby captain for St. George's this year. Quite a number of youngsters, even youngsters who have already left school. I mean, how much of an opportunity is this now for Zambezi Steelers in their second season to maybe put themselves on that podium?
I think it's a big opportunity for them. You know, they've got a seasoned and revered coach who knows what it takes to get the job done. What with Ricky, with the Sables is an assistant coach, and the Cheetahs coach. So they've got a reliable mentor. It's just a matter of the boys listening to their coach and applying all that they would have learned during the week into the match days. But like I said before, I am going to withhold my predictions. But this week I didn't really much see most of the games. I'll be there this weekend to see who is who. But I do love this whole schoolboy feel. Spindling into the under-20 league, where there was a Churchill PE kind of derby over the weekend. And you know, with those two teams or those two institutions, that rivalry is still big. It's still one of Zimbabwe rugby's biggest rivalries. So I do love what the look of the under-20 league so far. And I just hope with the whole sponsorship thing can be sorted out. I know we're going to talk about it later, but I hope it's going to be sorted out sooner rather than later.
Yeah, ultimately. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about that kind of derby and maybe give background to it. So what this year, what Harare province decided to do is to maybe give a little bit of respite to coaches and teams, in the sense that every single year when you're doing another 20 squad, seems like you're having to rebuild every single year. So what they've done, they've now said, let's establish, or let each and every club establish a second team, which is now consisting of 17, 18 or 19-year-olds. That may not necessarily make your first team under 20. And then that is where you are developing your squad going forward. So that particular match you're talking about, the Pitbulls, the seconds, is basically going to be the Churchill Bulldogs first team for this year. And then the Sean D'Souza Rugby Academy, that is effectively going to be the Prince Edward, Tigers for this year. And it was a close encounter. But of course, I'm happy to say, as a purple blood, that we won 29-22. Of course, Sean D'Souza, sorry, you know how it is. But, that rivalry will always continue. But I think good development strides that are being taken right there. Let's take a little bit of a focus going down the pecking order, because we always love talking about the big boys. Let's go down the pecking order. One of the newly promoted sides, and that was Chitungwiza Crusaders, had a little bit of a baptism of fire. Welcome to the big boys table and things like that. But how important do you think, Tafara, though, that is for Chitungwiza in particular to be taking part in this kind of a manner? We've seen quite a number of clubs come out of there. Southern City, unfortunately, it crashed before it took off. Then, of course, we saw a bit of an Eastern Warthogs side as well. There are some internal struggles there. And then now we've got Chitungwiza Crusaders, who are now trying to push things up. How important do you think for Chitungwiza to be participating in that, and what can we really draw from that?
We can draw a lot. I think it's first and foremost good for rugby itself, for the development of the game, and what that does is it fosters inclusivity. You get what I mean? It's not your Prince Edward, your Churchill, your St. George's, your St. John's, your Loma Gundi, your Falcon, your Peterhouse only, and Wazawa. You then, if you're going to have Chitungwiza, yeah, fair enough, they had a baptism of fire. But this is what they can expect. You're playing at that level of, unfortunately, or rather fortunately, when you put it across, they have to, continually punch above their weight. And it's good for the development of rugby. Why? Because that's how you then you can develop talent from there. So you want to see who is my focus and priority, of course, on the national team as well, then under 20 national team, and then going on to the senior sables as well. So you want to widen your nets to have a platform where you can see who is who and who is doing what in which team. And I think that's very critical.
Who's who in the zoo? That's exactly what you guys are saying. But let's put things in perspective now. In order to balance all this out, what you need is money.
Absolutely.
Where the money be at? Tidashe, like, where is the cheddar? Of course, this weekend they took off. I mean, we just saw it's Harare province, it's under 20 rugby league. Off we go. And look, in all honesty and in all fairness, it was a smooth weekend of rugby. There weren't any hiccups. The ambulances were there, the refs were there, the venue was there, and rugby was played. That's what matters, right?
Yeah. I've been covering rugby for the better part of 2 decades now. And I don't remember a time when the rugby was, most of the sports I cover with basketball, rugby, sponsorship has never been that big in those sports. Yes, year in, year out, with every election, someone would always ride on that, I'm going to look for sponsorship, but they never do. So, but the thing is...
They never do, or maybe they just can't.
They never do. The thing is...
Okay, let me jump in on that one. Is the issue around money because you never do, or you just can't secure it? It's difficult to secure because there's no... outside of our qualification towards World Cup, what value does rugby offer at the moment?
Aside from... Because I think we have had this discussion countless times. That I am totally disappointed with the union and the sport. Because right now, following our qualification for the World Cup, corporates are supposed to be lining up. But nobody wants to put their money in a house that's chaotic. That's not organized. Because I think we proved that before we could celebrate qualifying for the World Cup, we were already
talking about
suspensions and whatnot. We actually went to the Africa Cup with an interim president. Yeah. And what does that say? That the World Rugby had to bring someone in. Before they could give us the grant money, make sure that we have our house in order. And what picture does that paint about our sport? Because would you sponsor your money, your hard-earned money into a chaotic sport like that? Yeah.
All right. So fine. So Tafara, he says it's chaotic. Is rugby chaotic, or is it because people speak in the corridors but they don't actually step up at the end of the day to actually go in and do the business? Because a lot of people talk behind the scenes, but they generally don't do anything.
The number of people that have whispered in my ear over the years, when it comes to this guy doesn't know what he's doing, this guy, they've got that mentality of if I am not the president, no one else can. Yeah. But for I think like 90% of the people who have whispered in my ear, none of them have actually gone and said that I want to be the president of the union. Yeah. It's like they're just there to cause chaos.
Yeah. Talk is cheap.
Yeah, exactly. So that's my problem with the sport. That's qualifying for the World Cup should have unified us for one purpose. That we need. Should be a launching pad or a turning point for our sport. But look, we're the same place we were last year before we qualified. And if things don't happen in the next couple of months, years, we'll be back here after the World Cup. Yeah. Because I did speak to Pete Bernard upon their arrival from Uganda last year. And one of the things he said to me that stuck with me, that this is not a one-off thing. Namibia have had their chance, their turn to qualify for consecutive World Cups. Now it's our turn. The players want that. The coaches want that. It's just the administrators that need to
who are not at the present moment concerned.
Exactly. And they are the most important part of this. They have to ensure that they put their house in order so that we qualify consistently for the World Cup. that would go down to the under 20 level and what exactly.
All right. So yeah.
I wanted to buttress his point. The submissions he makes about administration of the game, it's critical, and I agree with him that at this particular juncture that we find ourselves as a nation, we've qualified for the World Cup, the first after 34 years. It's supposed to bring every head on the table, every hand there is on the table. What can we do to make sure that this does not become a once-off qualification, but we actually have, when we consistently
hasn't the IMC already done that? They called in stakeholders.
Coming to the issue of sponsorship
Not
for
many people
our
showed
professional
up.
league.
Not many people showed up.
You wouldn't be bothered.
Yeah.
But
it was like the hall was like half empty. Yeah.
Okay, I choose to look at it as half full. But
yeah.
But look, I'm trying to put things in perspective here to say, look, at the end of the day, first there's the issue around the sport itself in Zimbabwe as a whole, providing value. And at the moment, we can't even sell rights for our local rugby. We can't sell rights even for our international rugby. Rugby Africa is struggling to sell rights. I mean, they put it on YouTube whenever we're doing a Rugby Africa Cup. They put it on a Facebook Live. They can't get a particular channel to buy rights for that thing. So the value within itself of rugby in Africa still needs a little bit of work. And if we were to come back to the local scene, whereby, of course, the Harare Under-20 League has started without a sponsor, at the end of the day, we then ask the question, is it the union's challenge? Is it the province's challenge that they weren't able to find? Or is it ultimately just the product itself, just even in admin? If you were to step in today, who would you step to right now to actually ask for money and they would sponsor?
So I would respond in this way, Ravi. You would know high school rugby, and as far as sponsorship is concerned, if you look at the just ended season, they have more sponsors than our professional league.
And I've got a point for that, but you can go ahead. I've got a point for that. I know exactly why.
You don't need to know. You get to the John's versus George's derby, right? You get there. You're welcomed by a lot of brands. Zimoko will even have their cars there. I've been there. You get what I mean? The S-Class, their GLEs, they are on full display. You understand? You don't need... it's a maverick. It's maverick to watch, right? And you will feel, okay, I mean, this is the place where we must invest. You understand? Because other brands are there. And not just brands. You're talking Zimoko. When you, so the question is, where are we missing it with the professional league? Because you were telling us, you were giving us context that the Marundra Tolons, right? That's Wise Owl. This is the same team, isn't it? Yeah. It's the same St. George's players. It's the same St. John's players. It's the same Prince Edward and Churchill. So where are we missing it with the professional league? Where's the missing link?
I can give you the missing link. The missing link is that when you now come towards professional rugby, there's no parent involved. Because when it comes to high school rugby, there's a high likelihood that a parent from Zimoko has got a child at St. George's. And so the investment will come. Similarly, whether they're coming from Croco Motors or any other one of the sponsors that you've seen there, the parents will be involved. Or maybe now the boys are part of an alumni, which is where I'm talking about the value being derived in the particular sport. Where is the value being derived? For a parent, there's the value because my child is there. Here, there's a player that's there, but maybe the parent is not even interested. That's why they don't even sponsor.
So are you saying that the Under-20 league is full of offense? Yeah, I don't really get your point.
No. I don't get your point. Here's the thing, gentlemen. When you now get kunana 19, 20 years, mwana wangu chizvonera. Apa wanga uchiri kuchikoro. Hatisi kuti you're an orphan. But you're now in an adult space where you're now basically being allowed to fly and do. Apa, I was still, what can I say, crutching you along the way, helping the cause, because you are part of the system. So I've got attachment to that system. But with an under 20 particular league, you find that, yes, there are some parents that come, but I've seen quite a number of the youngsters. The parents don't come. I'm done on a mom's article, but they don't come. Why don't they come?
Okay.
Value. Value.
That is a lazy excuse. Let's be honest.
Lazy to who? To the corporate or to who?
Yeah, here's the thing.
Yeah.
To know the difference between why the parent will stop supporting when the higher the kid or the under 20 and the senior level, because they get frustrated.
Fair enough.
They get frustrated.
Why?
The higher they go, administration. It all boils down to administration.
All right.
They get frustrated the higher they go, because if the under 20 team is very much supported by the parents. The parents, they'll go to Namibia to go watch their sons. How many parents did you see, or loved ones did you see with the senior team in the stands in Uganda at the Africa Cup? The support is always there, but the problem is that they take a back seat, because no one wants to invest money where there's chaos, whereby everyone is whispering in your ear and stuff like that. What we need is unity. We need just to start moving in the same direction.
All right.
Yeah, put our egos aside and just move in one direction, and put your love, because we love rugby. The guys in the sport, they love rugby. Every single, we might criticize the league and whatnot, but it's always full to the brim, no matter where you go, locally. Either under 20 at senior level, it's always full. With the national team when they're playing, it's supported by the fans and the families. But then when it comes now putting your money, there are pros and cons to it. Yeah.
Fair enough. All right. Look, there might be pros and cons, and obviously would love to hear within, the comment section. Do let us know what your thoughts are. Where is the money in rugby? Why isn't it coming in? We've seen some big money, as you've mentioned, big brands that actually come out and support rugby. So why aren't those brands then stepping up and going to the next level? I also feel that we stretch these brands too thin. I've been saying it for many years. We need to cut down some of the supposed national teams that we have, going to Craven Week, where we are wasting our time, because a lot of it is being belted. We come back and that team never plays again. So an under 14 and under 17 and under 18 side or under 19 side, all of that is a waste of time. Those are waste of sponsorships, which we could actually be concentrating on an under 20 senior Sable side and whatever. And let's pull our resources, as you said, unity together. Let's pull our resources together, make sure an under 20 side is well funded, as senior Sables, women's Sables, lady cheetahs, men's cheetahs, those are fully funded, and we move forward. But talking about those national teams, we've got one which we are obviously all excited about, which we're all celebrating and, riling up right now. I think it was just earlier on this morning. That's when we got news about how our matches would be played, where we'll be playing. So we're playing the bulk of our matches, the first two matches in Adelaide. And then the last one is going to be played in Townsville. That'll be against Tonga. So we're going to be playing Wales first, and then we play England next, which is going to be an interesting one. But both of those will be in Adelaide. And then, of course, our final match against Tonga in Townsville. Let's just talk a little bit about that, where it is. I was actually Googling some of the costs and everything, how much it's going to cost for me to be there and things like that. But here we are, we're opening up with Wales. Is there a chance? Because I know Wales have come here historically, and I know you can tell us a little bit about that, Kusema, with the time that you've covered rugby.
That was before my time.
Yes, it was way before my time. He's refusing to be that old, but anyway. But ultimately, Wales did come here. It was a very close match. I believe that was, I'm not so sure, did it end in a draw or historically? We lost, but it was very narrowly lost. And that was at Police Grounds, right? Massive crowd when you actually look at that particular picture. But we're kicking off with Wales. Do you think we have a chance right now against Wales if we just continuously put our house in order, continue to get all of the suggestions of players around the world that are actually saying we're interested, we want to come?
I think right now it's too early to say that. As things stand, we'll be walloped, like convincingly. Like
Despite the fact that Wales is like struggling?
Embarrassing. No, the team right now, I think that's where the beauty of the Nations Cup comes in. The Nations Cup is going to be the barometer on which we assess our preparedness. Because we are now going, I think, 3-4 ranks up in terms of competition. And we are not there yet. We are not there yet. So I think with, I'm assuming that the coach has a plan. We will see, both July is not that far. As the months go, we'll have a clearer picture of who's in and who's out, which players are coming in, which players will be available for our Nations Cup fixtures. After that, I think that's when by December we'll know where our chances lie. Because a weekend in Wales, as things stand, is still way much better than a strong than Zimbabwe right now. Yeah, because look at the players we have. They've not been playing rugby for how many months now?
Oh,
yeah. So if the game was tomorrow, do you think we have match fitness? I know they're in camp right now. They're training on a weekly basis. I know, but then in level of competitive action, they do not have that.
Yeah, 100%. Now, talking about that in terms of, playing against Wales, playing in a different space. This is a foreign land. Now you're playing in a stadium where arguably you'll have anywhere in the region of 20 to almost maybe 30,000 people that will be watching you.
That's something.
That's something.
That's something that some of our players are not used to. So you would know, I somewhat agree with him. Wales are down right now. I think they're the least. Take a look at Six Nations. By the way, Six Nations is about to start. And I don't think I expect Wales to be, to finish last in that lot, maybe between them and Italy. But otherwise they're down. But in as much as they're down, look, they're playing Six Nations. They're playing rugby. They're playing international rugby with some of the top tier nations. They're playing Ireland. They're playing France. They're playing Scotland. These are very, very good rugby teams. And in as much as they're down, they're getting the experience. They're getting game time. And when we are dormant, we're not playing anything. So we're just in camp, training, doing drills. So I agree with him. If we are to play Wales tomorrow, we'll get walloped. Not because Wales has got better players, but they're better prepared. So the question is, we need to be prepared. But a better prepared Zimbabwe against a prepared Wales, I think we will have a game on our hands.
A pretty decent game. So let me throw it back to you, though, still. How important do you think a Goshawk's side in this whole conversation would actually be in terms of getting the squad depth that you need? Because fair and fine, we want to call as many international players as possible. But there are only so many international players that you will be able to select and to also budget for, because it's expensive to call these kinds of guys. So ultimately, at some point, you're going to have to look towards your local base. But if your local base is to be up to the task, you have to prepare them. How important do you think a Goshawk side is?
Yeah, there is a lot of work to be done. It's a bit of a quagmire for us as a country, but there is a lot of work to be done. We definitely need to tap and make use of our international players, those who have played, in New Zealand leagues and Australian leagues, bring them back to the fore. And I know that especially the local-based players who qualified vis-a-vis the Rugby Africa Cup that we won against Namibia, they may have some entitlement as to, well, we are the ones who brought it, so we've earned our stripes to play. But I think we're having that conversation last week, and I was saying, look, the best 15 should take the field, regardless of whether you're coming from local or international, as long as according to
but guys, guys.
Also,
Yeah?
But you were the one who brought the qualification.
Yes.
But there's someone else who can play better than you in that position.
But don't I deserve a chance to show
The
myself
thing is, it's called
at
Zimbabwe.
that particular level?
Here's the guiding thing. It's Zimbabwe. It's not your franchise.
I brought this qualification.
Not you. Not you.
I, the 15
You were part.
that went, yes.
You were
I,
part
the
of
15
the team.
or the 30 that went there.
Yeah.
I brought this qualification.
Because we're playing Namibia, Kenya, Uganda. Now we're playing Wales.
Well, it wasn't a
Tonga,
bad Kenya,
and
was it?
It was.
It was. It was. Yeah. It was. Yeah.
Yes,
you guys
different level competition.
Look, to be
Namibia.
honest, I actually felt our best game, our toughest game was against Kenya. By the final, let's just say, kuti vanga kushandisa anzichi experience yekuti vanga wambo qualify before. That's why maybe that game was tight. But arguably, I feel our best game was against Kenya. Kenya came in physically; they came in with everything.
When you take a look at, I'm concerned with the Zimbabwe Rugby Sables physicality. I am concerned. I've watched them getting. Was it Japan? Where we won the game convincingly.
South Korea, you mean.
South Korea. We won the game convincingly, but on the breakdown, we were being walloped. We were being dominated. You understand? And the manner in which
South Korea, guys, anyway, we need to wrap this up. So we'll quickly finish this one off. I know there's quite a lot that we want to be talking about, but ultimately our time does elude us. But I would love to thank you for joining us for this episode of Inside the Scrum. Every single week, we'll be talking about rugby issues. And so I'd like to thank Tinashe. Thank you very much for joining us, albeit this old George inside is struggling. Some of us are smiling. Pitbulls is waiting. So that's all good. Tafar, which one is yours, by the way? You never mentioned.
So I'm with OH.
You're with all the areas. Oh, wow. So I had two losers on the set today, whilst I am the winner. So make sure you join us next week, and you can always be with us as champions right here on ZTN Prime. This is the platform where you get to hear all things about rugby.